Hello and welcome to the Crash Course COT Intelligence Tool User Guide. My name is Mia and I'll be guiding you through the user interface. First of all, before we start, what is the web app all about? COT is short for Commitment of Traders, is a futures data report published by the CFTC, usually every Friday. Basically shows how many contracts the big commercials, hedge funds and speculators known as reportables hold at any given time. So if you're active in the cattle market, sugar, oil, gold or forex, you want to be on top of this report to gauge trend reversals and nail top and bottoms. What the tool does, it gathers that information directly from the CFTC government website and via several algorithms generates signals for the instruments. Note that this is the only tool currently available that calculates forex crosses, as the CFTC only publishes futures contracts that are traded against the dollar or commonly known as major pairs. You won't find COT data, for instance, on Euro JPY or GBP AUD and so on. The COT intelligence tool is undisputed in that matter. The other solution it brings to traders is the movement index and variance ratio it calculates for every single instrument, which accurately pinpoints retracement and trend continuations. This is a unique function of this tool that again is not available anywhere else. Also attached a user guide for the COT itself, so you get an understanding of what net position for commercials are, what the positions for non-commercials are, and what the movement index means. Some of these components are the basics of the COT, some of them we added onto it. Let's get straight into the user face itself. So in choosing the symbol, I've got the opportunity to use the drop down list where I can go through all the different forex pairs, commodities, and also treasuries and indices. I can either choose them from the drop down list or I can just type it up. For instance, if I were to look at Euro USD, I would just type it up and then click enter or pick it from the list, which then would then generate a chart for it. And if I click on the drop down list again, it will take me back in time to all the different dates, all the way back to the year 2000. I can also filter the latest signals on the pair. So for instance, if I wanted to see what all the latest signals were that are generated on the Euro USD, I take the signal filter. I can tick the box on the strong and weak signals, as there are different type of signals that it generates, and I can go for all the data generated signals. So the latest signal we would have had was on the 24th of April 2018, which showed that there is a signal for short on the COT index as data was peaking. A little bit of explanation about what these charts are about. So that's the COT commercials net positions. Every time we are above it, we are positive. Below the median zero line, we are below it. And it tends to have an inverse correlation with the instrument. So if you find there is commercial buying, you find the instrument is usually falling, and the other way around. Now, what's unique in this is that the variance ratio, you see that yellow line, every time it's above the median zero line, indicates that the trend is picking pace. Every time it's below it, you're probably closer to mean reversion. We've got the open interest charts, which the blue one represents commercials, red is non-commercials. What you might find that commercials open interest is a little bit vague, as they have increased buying power, unlimited at some times, where with the non-commercials you find that the buying power is somewhat limited. So it means if you've got an increase or decrease in the open interest of the non, which is the red, you find that there's a increase or decrease also in the pace of the price action underlying instrument. We have the RSI and stochastic. The RSI is only for commercials and the stochastic is only for non-commercials, and it works like it does with any other instruments. So the overbought and oversold lines are as depicted in here. Lastly, I've got the COT movement index, which does calculate every time the underlying asset is about to finish its retracement. Every time it hits the red line above plus 40 or minus 40, you are very close to a snapback. The last function I wanted to show you of the tool itself is the usage of the weekly signals. So instead of picking your signals by the symbol of instrument, you can simply click on this week signals, and we'll show you all the generated signals for the period ending in the 4th of December. You click on the drop down list, you find that all of these single pairs or commodities would have had a signal to go with it. And that same is true for all the other weeks before, if you're backtesting or anything further. And there's also a function of zooming into the chart, and if you click on data cursor and you hover over the data, you find that it shows you the exact dates and the values. Now also, if I click and drag, it'll isolate a particular date for me if you're keen to scrutinize a little bit more detail what was happening. And if I double click, I will take it back to its natural state. This concludes the user interface crash course guide. Hope you enjoyed it. It's a very simple but very effective tool to use to keep traders on the correct side of the flow.